So do you know the number one thing not to do when you first begin to notice that you're losing hair? Don't panic. Whatever you do, no knee-jerk reactions. Don't run out and buy a Rogaine or Minoxidil, or certainly do not go out and get a hair transplant. There are so many things that you can do that could potentially make the hair loss worse. And some of them can have irreversible consequences. So what should you do? Don't go it alone. Seek help from a professional certified trichologist to avoid mistakes. Did you know that most doctors only have 4 hours on the study of hair, whereas a certified trichologist has hundreds to possibly thousands of hours of hair study? So what you really need to do when you first start to notice hair loss is a few things. Number one, you've got to determine what's causing it. And you may have more than one cause. So it's really difficult to know what all those causes are without a trichology assessment. So we definitely recommend a trichology assessment. You can get one free online. And what it will do is it will uncover your hair loss contributors. There are over 80 questions that you will need to answer, and it will provide you a lot of information about your particular hair loss and actionable steps that you can take in order to combat those causes. And that brings me to the second thing is you're going to need to address each contributor. Now, the biggest cause of hair loss is actually genetics. This can be referred to as androgenetic alopecia or male pattern baldness or female pattern baldness. They're all the same thing. It's all genetic hair loss. Most people that I meet with have genetic hair loss. And so for those individuals, they've got to protect their androgen receptor hair cells. It's very simple. You literally just take a supplement for that, and it will protect the androgen receptor so that it cannot be slowly killed off, which is what genetic hair loss does. You know you have genetic hair loss when your hair loss has been occurring for a long time and just slowly getting worse and worse and worse. And maybe you have a poor scalp environment. We just go over questions like that as well and help you understand how to maintain clear hair follicles, keeping that scalp environment optimum so that hair growth can occur. Perhaps there's something going on in your blood work. You know, you'd be amazed at how many people I meet with regularly who either don't get their blood work done regularly or they get it done and don't understand it. They don't ask questions. And so they have no idea so many things you can just look at your blood work and see, and a certified trichologist can help you with that. You know, perhaps you have low iron. Perhaps you have a low or high TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone. Maybe you're low on vitamin D. And that's just a few things that we can help you figure out. So blood work is important. Maybe you have poor nutrition. It can absolutely contribute to hair loss, especially for those with androgenetic or genetic hair loss. Nutrition is important. So much of our food these days, it is so highly processed. Lots of really bad things in our food these days. So nutrition is important. Maybe you have a malabsorption issue, and a doctor can help you determine that by looking at your blood work. But again, the trichology assessment is going to help you uncover that as well. So the third thing to do when you first start to notice hair loss is when you do choose to do something about it, choose natural options. I could set off fireworks just to get your attention on this. When you first start to notice hair loss, do not do a hair transplant surgery. It can make it worse if the causes of the hair loss are not addressed. Then you can spend a whole lot of money getting that hair transplant done, a lot of pain as well. Takes a long time for the actual hairs to begin to, emerge from the scalp and start to blend in with the hair. And if you haven't addressed the actual cause of the hair loss, you could do all that, and then in a couple of years, you're going to be right back where you started from. So just so you know, our surgeon routinely recommended laser hair therapy first for those in the initial stages of hair loss, just to arrest the loss and then to prevent future loss. Another one of those natural options is avoid minoxidil in the early stages of hair loss. All of your hairs that are exposed to minoxidil can become addicted to it. Because when you're putting something on your scalp, it's really difficult to only get it in the area where you've lost hair. You probably have some hairs that are still there. So if you go and you put minoxidil on all of the hairs, guess what? Not only is it going on the lost hairs, but it's going on the existing hairs. And now the existing hairs are going to become addicted to that product. And if you ever stop using it, you can lose all of those hairs. So in addition to that, minoxidil can be harmful to your health. If you're not the right candidate for minoxidil, especially if you have any type of heart condition, you should not use minoxidil without consulting with your physician first. And just so you know, minoxidil is the active ingredient in Rogaine. So do not go out and just immediately start on minoxidil. In addition to all that, it doesn't even build the inner core of the hair. So you might get new hairs to grow over time. You know, when you're using minoxidil in the over-the-counter type, it takes at least 3 to 6 months before you even begin to start to see hair growth. Most people give up before that ever even happens. But even if you did stick it out, those new hairs that it does begin to grow, they don't have a really strong inner core. So they don't really give you just a whole lot of coverage. So knowing all of that, it's just not something that we recommend for people who are in the beginning stages of hair loss. Now, there are times when we do recommend minoxidil, but in general, it's for those who have a higher degree of hair loss, or maybe they've been losing hair for more than 2 years and they have significant missing bald areas. Those are the people that we may recommend minoxidil for. And what we've actually found in our practice of over 20 years is that laser hair therapy is best for those who are just thinning and in the beginning stages of hair loss for a number of reasons. Number one, it typically stops excess shedding within just a couple of weeks. I've had clients who did one laser treatment and their hair shedding stopped. Now remember, it's normal to shed some. We're humans. We are supposed to shed. And in general, the more hair you have, the more hair you shed. So you're never going to completely stop shedding, but the laser hair therapy can stop excessive shedding pretty quickly. It also prevents future loss. So let's say you're in the beginning stages of hair loss. You start to work with a certified trichologist. They get you on the right plan and your hair loss stops. Well, and then you start to regrow new hair, and then it starts to all blend in with your existing hair over the period of months. And then by the time the year is up, you're where you want to be, then it's really easy to maintain it. So you've gotten to prevent that entire issue of significant hair loss. Starting in the beginning stages is key. It's the best and easiest time to get hair loss to stop and reverse and get some really good hair growth. But I think the most important thing is to work with a certified trichologist to get the right effective plan so that you know you're on the right track, so you don't do the wrong thing. And understand that for most people, especially for those with androgenetic hair loss, there is no cure for hair loss yet. If you are experiencing hair loss now, and you have been, let's say, for 6 months to a year, and it's been slow and gradual, chances are you have genetic hair loss, and there is no cure for that. So you will need a lifelong management of it. But if you catch it early and you know what your personal hair loss contributors are, you can control your hair loss and prevent future loss. So if you are in the beginning stages of hair loss, you, my friend, are in the right position for really good results. So just to recap, when you first notice hair loss, submit a trichology assessment to understand what's causing it. Work with a certified trichologist to determine your hair loss causes and to create an effective plan that will help you combat all of your contributors. And then remember that professionally guided laser hair therapy emitted onto the ideal scalp environment, which a certified trichologist will help you understand how to accomplish that, has proven to be the best option for those in early hair loss stages. And we invite you to join us in upcoming episodes to understand more about hair loss and how to manage, reverse, and prevent future hair loss. And it was my pleasure sharing my knowledge with you today, and I hope that you'll join us again soon. Please send us your questions and we will address them in an upcoming episode. And until next time, remember, every hair is precious, so let's keep it growing.